Hey everyone, I'm Cody Knots King and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be continuing my video that I posted the other week or so about how the seasons affect my artwork. And today more directly I'm just going to be talking about how fall affects my artwork, and by that I don't directly mean that I'm just going to be like, when it's fall out I feel like this. More so I'm just going to be talking about, so how my art was a year ago compared to how it is today, and then some poetry that I wrote a year ago compared to today. So first let me just start off by saying that fall is a time that I like to slow down and think about past work and think about how my past work is going to affect my newer work. So more so, let me just start by saying this right here. So in my hand right now, these are like lino cuts, so curved blocks, and then a wood block. And so what I mean by how fall affects my artwork is this is a drawing from last year, and it actually now, as in my idea of how fall affects me, this is turned into a block print. So my drawing from last year is now a new thing from this year. And this is just a cactus with some of my cells that are down here, and I call them cells because how a cell multiplies, it starts out by this one, by the center circle, and then it spreads out and goes farther and farther and multiplies. And then as well as, I like to think that my drawings from earlier in the year, same idea as fall, you look back and you look at new things. So this is a gourd, this is a drawing that I did in the beginning of October, and now it is a lino print, so I can use it for block printing. And then another cactus, as well as this vine. Just the idea that older drawings become newer things, so that's a big thing with fall. I tend to look back and try to figure out what ideas from the past can now be brought to the forward. And this idea of, I guess that would be continuity and repetition. Every year I kind of go through the same process of looking back and then using stuff from my past to bring myself to the future. And same way with sketchbooks, I tend to use old books that I don't necessarily like anymore, and I just draw inside of them. So some older work, which turns into newer work eventually, maybe not exactly. Some of these, let me see if I can find a direct piece so I can explain that in deeply. Maybe I should outline them. Ooh, I just missed it. Where is it at? Where'd it go? This piece right here was turned into a painting not too long ago. Do I know where the painting is in my house? No, but it is a painting now. So, this sketchbook is from, let me see if there's a date in it, November 18th, 2018. So, things from last year are becoming new things in 2019, which will soon be 2020. And then, just an idea of this sketchbook and how this sketchbook looks. I did a lot of watercolor in it. So my ideas of how to use the sketchbook has also changed. So this is my most recent sketchbook, and that was one of my oldest ones from when I started using books and stuff. And now I'm using more of pastels in my sketchbooks because they're easier to see and they're easier to understand what I'm doing inside of them, rather than rather than the watercolors where they kind of just blend into the pages. And what I'm trying to find in here is a drawing that represents, something from before and now it is how it is today. And I guess this is probably the best example of what I mean. So this is a newer drawing that I've done in a sketchbook, and this is some of the older drawings I was doing in sketchbooks. So if you can there's more of a boldness to this compared to this, where I can stand all the way back here and you can still kind of see the image, while this is like, it's fading away. But you gotta look at that closer. So just my ideas of like design has also changed, where, you know, in the fall, I'm thinking about how my shapes interact with each other. Now, granted, the circles still kind of interact the same way, where there's the space above, and that kind of like, it's kind of like the head of the body, if you want to emphasize it that way. And the forms are kind of not the same, but like the structural you know, beings of the forms are the same. So that's how that's stayed the same. But just like my ideas of like how I use a sketchbook has definitely changed throughout this year and last year. Whereas I'm using these kind of books now as like, if I wanted to take a photo of this drawing here and upload it to my Society6 account or my Redbubble, which I probably eventually will do, I can do that now, compared to like this. I wouldn't upload something like that because of its opaque color and stuff, like more so like its attention to like the details and all that fun stuff. So that's for sketchbooks, as well as, you know, the how sketchbooks and sketches turn into things like this. And then let me look at my notes. So like for fall, I just want to like get these things out of the way because I wrote them down. So fall is a time where I slow down and think. It's also a time of debating and regrouping myself, and then it's also the beginning of death and the start of a cold. And by the beginning of death, I don't mean like I'm going to die. I mean like everything around outside is dying off. It's going into a regenerative state. You know, plants that were once blooming are now, you know, died off on the top, and they've gone into their resting phase, their sleeping stage, which is their bulbs. And it's a time where I search for like warmth, or I search for like knowledge. And when I say warmth, I'm not saying like I need like someone else's warmth. I'm saying like warmth as like, you know, you go outside a lot, or I'm outside a lot, so I'm always outside and I'm cold, so I'm always trying to find that warmth of going back inside and then going back outside, and finding that warmth while I'm outside so I can stay outside longer and think about like how everything is. Granted, like my greenhouse is warm, but outside my greenhouse isn't warm. It's raining right now. So I'm trying to find the warmth so it's warm in here. The balance of in between of warm and cold. I do really like the cold though. The fall is one of my favorite seasons. And, you know, it's one of my favorite seasons because of the idea of like collecting and harvesting. It's the time of the year where the colors of the, you know, the wheat have changed from green to gold, and the potatoes are blooming and all that. And it's a, you know, it's a time spent like inside home, and like I would say gathered around the wood stove, but in my house it gets way too hot to be gathered around a wood stove, and I melt. I melt very fast because I'm a very warm person. So when it's hot, I like to freeze. And I can't sleep if it's boiling hot, because I grew up in a house, in both houses, my dad's house and my current house, in like 100 degree weather all year round, and I just melted. So now I have to sleep with a fan, or else I won't fall asleep. And the good thing about a wood stove is, if I'm painting inside, I can just put the painting next to the wood stove and it'll dry in like 5 minutes. And I don't have to wait till the next day to keep painting. I can just keep going on and on and on. And then like, you know, like I said, rainy days indoors, that also helps with like creative processes in me, and like the balancing of meditation of thoughts, and then like looking back, because I have no other choice but to look back because I can't go outside. And then, you know, the idea of looking back from old work also brings it into like new work, which is what I was talking about with the prints down here. Like, I'm grabbing like one at a time like a dummy, but like an old sketch turned into this, and this is block print. And, you know, just like how things change over the years. And then lastly, you know, in pretty much a summary, not lastly, but a summary of like how fall feels to me is, you know, this process of thinking. Fall is a time where I like to go back and think. And thinking leads to reflection, which also leads to stillness, and which also leads to planning. And reflection is of the past, stillness is of the present, and planning is for the future. And I like to think of all these things as like really important factors in my art and also myself, and just how the season of fall affects me. Um, also like the season of fall also affects me because I always wear sweaters, always wear hoodies. Best time to wear sweaters and hoodies. Other than that, I do a lot of thinking and learning of things. So another thing I've been learning how to do is like weave sweaters. So this is a sweater I made, and it's kind of thick, and like it's really warm, but like it's a little big. So when you wrap it around, you just like you're gone, and you're warm. It's like a blanket almost. But that's also another thing that I've learned this year. So like with the fall comes new ideas and like new things I've been learning. So this is another one. But lastly, for this video, before it goes too far, I just want to read a poem from last year and compare it to a poem from this year. So let me start from the poem from last year. I'm just gonna pick a random one. Hopefully it's not like too sad. These books are full of information though on like everything. It's not just poetry. And I'm trying to find ones that are my poems, because there's poems in here from other people that I just liked because I did a lot of studying. Alright. I'm just trying to find poems that aren't like too depressing. Alright, so this is one of my poems from the 9th month, the 30th day of the 18th year. To all of this I am of not it, for at heaven's gate I hold no sign, ticket, to perhaps I have been robbed. Maybe so, I wouldn't know, I see fit that I must go. To all of this I know it's so. I mean, that's like a really old poem. It's kind of short. Now let me get one more. And then, so you know like more of like how my style is back then. And then this is from 10/8/18. So this is the last one from my past, and then I'm going to read one from the future. Or future, from today. Okay. And it starts by, with you, I am whole. I remind myself daily that the winds have changed direction and blown you away gently towards new shores and similar tides. I just wonder why. That's from 10/8/18. And then now, poems from this year. It'd be funny if I didn't grab one from this year. And this is the only one in here. But, okay. And this is written on 12/9/19. And it's called Time Moves. The other ones I don't have names for. But this is one that's called Time Moves. Time moves slowly. It moves like a rock. Some days we feel it pass us, like a breeze on a warm summer day. And other times it slithers by, not even letting us plant our feet before it goes on speeding like a bullet. We think time is something we control, but really it dictates our every move. From the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, time consumes our every move. But if it wasn't for time, we wouldn't have the ability to live or the ability to die. We may live to die, but the time spent in between the two make this existence here a little less time consuming. I'm not saying these are like really good, but I'm also saying that like it's just a comparison to like last year's identity of myself to this year. And last year my poetry kind of embodied like, my sense of still like not being like a complete being, and now it's more of like this is like a hard complete being. And if that doesn't make sense, maybe like if you listen to like the poems again, it might make a little more sense. it's more of the lines of I was really sad then and I'm not as sad now, if that makes sense. And fall is just that time where like all these feelings come back together and they're like, hey, do you remember this feeling? Or hey, you remember that person? Oh, hey. But other than that, this has been a video about how fall affects my artwork, as well as, I didn't say this before, but it affects my poetry as well. But thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Cody Nuts King, and if you're not already like this video or subscribe to my channel, please do that now. There's also there's one video before this, so if you haven't watched that video, go and watch that video. And there may be another video after this about winter, about summer, and about spring. And if not, I'll probably post a video about me saying why there's not going to be a video. But other than that, thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Cody Nuts King again, and have a nice day.